Good morning, friends, and I must convey my thanks to the Center for Telecommunications Management Studies, CTMS, and Dr. Chaudhary for inviting me to this relaunch event of CTMS. I really feel privileged because Dr. Chaudhary has been one of the pioneers in the telecommunications revolutions in this country. Way, as it was being sort of launched in some sense, in 1989, this was founded as a non-profit society to wage the intellectual campaign for demonopolization and competition in Indian telecom. Now, at that point in time, in the early 90s, so to say, the thought was essentially that state-run entities will all do the work, and there should be monopolies in some sectors. So I think at that point of time, if you really thought of bringing out competition in a very critical sector at that point in time, it's really a very major sort of thought process which Dr. Chaudhary has introduced, and therefore he is really a doyen of Indian telecommunications industry. And the initial person who conceptualized, I'm told, he also kind of wrote or was the main contributor to the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India Act of 1997. And therefore, I think he has again been a thought leader in this space. I will obviously, I have been working in the information and communication technology sector since quite a long time. But the telecommunication, the real kind of connections to telecommunications proper happened when I joined the Government of India as secretary in the Department of IT, and of course for some small period of time as the Secretary of Department of Telecommunications. So there at that time, the Honorable Prime Minister launched the Digital India program in 2014. And the three major pillars of that program were, number one was the digital connectivity as a utility to citizens. And the second one was software and services on demand. And the third was essentially the citizens' empowerment. So these three major pillars were there, but the basic, infrastructure of telecommunication is a prerequisite for any digital kind of revolution taking place, any digital space developing. And, then soon after, in 2015, I became the chairman of Telecommunication Regulatory Authority of India. And I had, seen this landscape in telecommunication sector. It was fairly fragmented. There were about a dozen players in this space. The connectivity was also 2G, 3G, and a very little 4G. And of course, there were a lot of challenges of connectivity in the rural areas. Also, we had some program of what is called National Optical Fiber Network, which was labeled as the connectivity program for the whole country. So I think that's where we started. And again, the basic thoughts of infusing competition in the sector, number one. Number two, also ensuring consumers get a fair deal. I think competition was already there. In fact, the competition was pretty intense also at that point in time also. But the basic fact that the consumers were to be the central focus, because we have seen many times regulators become the spokesperson of the industry which they regulate, number one. Number two, there is obviously a desire to become popular in the space in which you are working. And my personal view was that, I'm not here to run a popularity contest. I'm here to guard the interest of the consumers who do not really have a voice in the sector. And therefore, I, started working for the consumers in mind. We introduced net neutrality principles. We, a lot of players came in. Reliance Jio came in at that point in time, and there were a lot of challenges in their entry into the system, and we took necessary steps to ensure that there is a fair competition in the market. Of course, regulator was also criticized for those things, but I think in the retrospect, if you look at it, today we have 1.2 billion mobile connections. It is all 4G in this country. It is the data which was selling at 275 rupees per gigabyte is now selling at 7 rupees per gigabyte. There are 800 million mobile connections. There are 600 million smartphones in this country. The data rates are absolutely cheap, as I indicated. So I think today we have a very vibrant telecommunications market. But then I must say that the foundations of that philosophy of an open competition, of a real fair play, or a level playing field to all the operators, interconnectivity being at the center of this entire exercise in telecommunication, was at the focus. Then, of course, the Digital India program's other objectives of creating platforms. So we have now, and I also had some role to play, digital identity in this country, which is Aadhaar. We have the digital payment system, which is UPI, and now we are having a lot of the sectoral, work being done, like UHI, Unified Health Interface in the health sector, and also you have the Open Network for Digital Commerce, ONDC initiative being launched. So I think there is a huge amount of vibrancy which is happening in the digital sector. India has truly leapfrogged because Aadhaar, JAM, Janadhan Aadhaar, and mobile, which uses a trinity of the digital identity, the communication, mobile communication, and of course the financial inclusion. So this JAM has really empowered people, because now everybody, 82% of Indian adults have got bank accounts. So everybody has a bank account. We are doing billions and billions of transactions of direct benefit to the people. Subsidy transfers and other cash transfers are happening at a huge scale. In LPG cylinders alone, we are doing about 2 billion transactions per year into the accounts of the people, subsidy transfers. So this JAM trinity has been extremely empowering. That's one part. And of course, you have had multiple other platforms developing on Aadhaar, which is the electronic KYC. You have the authentication system, and electronic KYC has ensured mobile connections in a paperless manner, instantaneously activated mobile connections, and you have the what is called the authentication, and digital signatures on demand, which is e-sign, digital locker. All kinds of things have happened since then. And I think India is truly laying under the Digital India program umbrella of the Honorable Prime Minister. India has, in the past few years, truly laid the foundations of a country which we want to have a digitally empowered society and a knowledge economy. So that is the broad vision of Digital India, which is actually happening. CTMS can play a significant role in contributing towards the national priorities of Digital India, Make in India, and Skill India by involving all the key stakeholders like industry and the academia, and they have already been doing a phenomenal work. I really admire the tenacity and the strength of Dr. Chaudhary, who even despite his advanced age, he continues to work in this space in a tireless manner, contribute to show his own personal example of sacrifice. And this is what we need in this country. We need in this country people who are public spirited. We have created digital public goods. Recently we created CoWIN, the software program, which actually took care in some sense, or in an orderly manner, the vaccination of the entire country. We have now 1.9 billion vaccinations recorded on our platform. There's no platform in the world which has scaled so fast. The interoperability, which is we have learned from telecommunication space, the interconnection as we call it there, the interoperability, frugality, openness, open source, open standards, open APIs. All these are the basic principles, and inclusive, of course, any system in this country, because this is such a diverse country with such diverse kind of geographies, educational levels, that we need to create systems which are also, where the digitally have-nots are not left out. So I think that's also one of the basic principles of inclusion, which actually must happen. The software must be frugal. Imagine the 5.4 billion transactions which we had last year in UPI. These are transactions free of cost to the citizens. If I transfer 100 rupees to you, you get 100 rupees, not even a paisa less. So these are the nature. In India is an extremely price sensitive market. So where if it's a very low value but a high volume transaction country. So we should devise our systems in such a manner which cater to the price sensitive nature of our people, also are able to cater billions of transactions, because we have to scale like nobody else. It's not a billion population. We have to plan for a societal kind of scale. A billion scale is what we have to plan for. And I think that is what we continue to do. And I think all such public spirited people like Dr. Chaudhary and the CTMS, they continue to contribute towards this journey. And I think the journey will end only when we achieve the final objective of a 5 trillion economy and a country which is digitally empowered society and a knowledge economy. Then and only then we will stop. So thank you once again for inviting me on this occasion. And I convey my great wishes to all people on this World Telecommunication and Information Society Day, to all the participants in this relaunch ceremony. Thank you so much.